All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA regular season video, and another NBA news video. Yes, this is an NBA news video. We're going to wrap up the last couple days of news. We're going to talk about some games. I have missed a bunch of games for you guys. I apologize. I have been watching, but I haven't recorded any videos about the games. Obviously, I've been kind of booked with a bunch of stuff, college, WNBA stuff that broke yesterday, and draft stuff. So I've been working. Don't worry, I've been working. You guys are getting content, and there'll be more content to come in the next couple months because we got NBA playoffs, we got March Madness, we got WNBA stuff. It's a busy time of year for me, but we will get through it, and you guys will get the content you like. There's something for everybody on this channel. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. In this video, we're going to talk about Cade Cunningham and his injury that was reported a couple hours ago. We're going to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo and his strange, we'll use the word strange, how do I even say strange disagreement with the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to talk about 90% confirmed NBA expansion, and we're going to go through the standings, go through the MVP race, and maybe start talking about a little bit of playoffs, just a little bit. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's talk about this Cade Cunningham and Giannis stuff first. This Giannis stuff is so very interesting, and I am I don't want to say I'm worried. Well, I'm tired. We'll put it that way. I am tired of this Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis stuff. Um, I just want it to be over. There is no trade stuff for Giannis. Obviously, the trade deadline has passed, but there are still feuds going on within the Milwaukee Bucks organization. There was a report a week ago, 2 weeks ago now, that um, coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, Doc Rivers, is going to retire at the end of this year. Apparently that was false. Maybe it was real, and and then it got out, so he said it was false. Maybe, I don't know. Um, but the stuff in Milwaukee is not great. Giannis had just come back from an injury that he was rehabbing. Um, Previous to the last couple games that he's been back, he's been in and out of the lineup dealing with some other stuff, some lingering stuff, not 100% healthy. And then in his last game that he played against the was this against, yeah, this has to be against the Indiana Pacers, yeah, against the Indiana Pacers, he landed awkwardly after trying to finish a fast break, and he hyperextended his knee again. And I'm not sure if it's the same knee from the playoffs a couple years ago, but a guy his size hyperextending his leg in any capacity is not great. And the Milwaukee Bucks approached Giannis about shutting it down for the season. The Milwaukee Bucks franchise player wants to keep playing, though, um, per Eric Nim of The Athletic reported this first. How do I feel about this? As a neutral fan, as somebody who does not care if the Bucks sink or swim, um, well, we'll say this: um, without Giannis, they're sinking. Uh, well, with Giannis, they're sinking, right? Without Giannis, they're sinking with a boulder tied to their legs faster. So it doesn't really make any difference if he plays or not. Um, they're 28-40 right now. They're was that 6 games, 7 games back from even being in the play-in. And you have a remaining. Let's see how many games they have remaining. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They have remaining 14 games left. Let's say Giannis misses 4 games, so they have 10 games left with Giannis, right? Supposing he comes back in that time frame. Is that enough to? Is that what you want? Is is that is that what you want? Is just to make the play and then get smacked by the Celtics, the Pistons, the Knicks, the Cavs. Is that what you really want? I don't want that. And I'm not a Bucks fan. I don't want that. Like, what's the point? It's the same thing with Steph Curry and the Warriors. Like, they keep putting it off. They don't want to announce it yet. Steph Curry's not coming back this season, even if he wants to. I don't think they're gonna let him come back. Why would I let you come back? You are so valuable to me as a player. I have to stop you from yourself sometimes. As a franchise player, as my cornerstone piece, I have to stop you and say, "Hey, I know you want to get out there. I know you want to be there with the guys. I know you want to play basketball. You just got to sit down. We can't be doing this. If I let you go out there and you hyperextend your knee again for the third time in the past, we'll say what has it been like 30 months, 24 months, right? Then I'm going to feel like I'm responsible and I didn't stop you from yourself. And I don't know. I know why this is a conversation for Giannis because Giannis is a basketball sicko. He wants to play basketball. He loves playing basketball. That's all he knows is how to play basketball. And he's incredibly talented. He's a defensive player of the year. He's an MVP. He's an all-star. He's already an all-time great. His jersey is going to be up in the Milwaukee arena. He's fine. He wants to keep playing. But this isn't the time. This isn't the time to be a hero. This isn't a time to be like, oh, I need to go out there and need to be with the guys. We can get in the play and then we can make some. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, with the Cade Cunningham news, maybe, maybe we'll get to that in a second though. But as is right now, right, with the way the teams are currently constructed, the Bucks aren't better than any of these teams. They aren't better than the Pistons. They aren't better than the Celtics, the Knicks, the Cavs. Maybe better than Toronto. Maybe better than the Orlando Magic. They're not better than the Hawks. They're better than the Heat. They're not better than Philadelphia. Oh, I guess yeah. Considering the injuries of Philadelphia, they are better than Philadelphia, and then they're not better than the Hornets. As a team, you know, game by game. If I have to pick, especially if you're going to be in the play-in, if I have to pick you to win one game and you go home, I'm picking these other teams. You know, um, does the is this let's put it this way: is this more breadcrumbs that Giannis and the front office and Doc Rivers and everybody aren't getting along? And even if this is a positive disagreement in the sense of like they just want to protect their asset and they want him to be fully healthy coming into next season, um, is there still some how do you say it? How would you refer to it as? Still some like angst, still some like butting heads. Uh, yeah, but I don't know. I am of the firm belief that we are in a weird era where I think if any player gets told to shut it down for the sake of like tanking or trying to get a better lottery pick, they probably do it. Um, that'd be something good to know. I don't even know if the Bucks have their pick this year. NBA. Do the Bucks have their pick? Yeah, they do. It's at 10 right now. If they tank and they get a higher draft pick, is it worth it? And a draft pick. Why are we even talking about this? The draft pick doesn't even help Giannis. You want to win right now. You want to win right now. You have to win right now. So none of these young players are gonna help you. Like I talked about this in my Nate Ahmet video. Like I would like to see Nate Ahmet in Milwaukee if Giannis isn't there. If Giannis is there, I'm not sure if I want Nate Ahmet. You know, he's a fine player. He's freaking only 19 years old. You know, um, now these other like none of these guys are gonna help you. Like in the Buck situation, you are too well. Not at this very moment, but in in the grand scheme of things, you're too good with Giannis to be bad enough to get a top pick. And if Giannis does sit down and you do get a top pick, why keep Giannis? Just go for the rebuild. You already got a top pick. Just go for the rebuild. There's no point, you know. And it's just a weird situation to be in. I don't know. I can't really explain to myself why this is this is happening because it seemed like not too long ago, Giannis and the Bucks were getting along. There was never any like problems. Like they got Drew Holiday, they made a championship roster, and everything was good. And it feels like ever since they got rid of Mike Budenholzer, it's been downhill. It's been mistake after mistake after mistake after bad injury after bad timing of an injury, and it's just never gotten right back on track. And moving to the next topic here, Cade Cunningham, who has sustained an injury, who has been a dark horse MVP candidate, who has led the Pistons to the best record in the East as of recording of this video, 49-19, what's a 50-win season. When was the last time the Pistons had a 50-win season? Hold up, let's see. Um, any guesses? You could leave it down below. When was the last time the Pistons had a 50-win season? Leave it down below. Um, last time the Pistons had a 50-win season. Oh my god. The last time the Pistons had a 50-win season plus, like with even more to go, was 2007, 2008. They were 59-23. Oh my. Yeah, so it's almost been a decade, 2 decades since the last time they were plus 50 wins on a season. And they did that for a long time. We're looking back at this. They had 50 plus wins from 2001 all the way to 2008. That was a long streak, and then they went on a long streak where they didn't get near that. Now they're back here, and now Cade Cunningham has sustained an injury, and it's not a good one. It's one of those ones where you like kind of cringe when you hear what it is. It was reported that Detroit Pistons star Cade Cunningham has been diagnosed with a collapsed lung and is expected to miss an extended period of time. The Eastern Conference leading Pistons announced Thursday that Cade Cunningham has left lung pneumonia thorax and will be reevaluated in 2 weeks, meaning he will at least miss the next 8 games. Sources told ESPN's Shams Charania. Well, I didn't realize it'd be that quick. That's not too bad. I feel like a collapsed lung you might want to be careful with. So it might be more than 8 games, but I'm no doctor. Um, I'm no lung specialist. 8 games. Let's talk about the 8 games, and we'll talk about what this means for Cade and all that stuff. Just Cade himself, not necessarily the team. We're gonna talk about the team right now. 8 games. So the Pistons have okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, around 14 games left. You go to 8 games, that would be March 31st. That would be the end of this month. And in that span, they are playing the Wizards, who suck, the Golden State Warriors, who suck, but might give you a game, the Lakers, that's a big one, the Hawks, who are playing very well, the Pelicans, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're without Ant's injured. Ant's out with knee soreness, knee inflammation, so that might be able to get that one. And then Oklahoma, who knows if they're actually playing games at this point? They might lock up the number. They might lock up the number one seed and rest some guys, so you might get an easy one. And then Toronto. That's home at Toronto. And then after that, on April 2nd, you play Minnesota at home in Detroit. So out of these games, these 8 games that he's supposedly gonna miss, he's probably gonna miss more. What could they go? Uh, I mm, they're probably not gonna be the Lakers. They're not gonna beat Atlanta. They're not gonna beat Minnesota. They're not gonna beat Oklahoma. That's 4 games. So if you split them, is that okay? What are the standings? If you it's really tight. It's really tight because Boston's right behind them at 46 and 23. They're right there. They are right there, and the New York Knicks are right there. Oh boy. I don't know. This could maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe you're like, okay, we had the great season. We kept the number one seed for majority of the year. Bad injury luck. We're gonna be the number two seed. You might get an easy layup if you're still the number two. You're gonna get an easy layup if you're one. Because like I said, you're gonna be playing like the Bucks, the Heat, the Sixers, and then maybe with some of these harder ones, Atlanta, Charlotte. You gotta play one of those guys. It might be a bit harder, but if you get one of the easy layups, then you could just have an easy first round. Um, in in totality, for the Pistons, this is not great. This is what everybody's been saying all year is that at the trade deadline, the Pistons maybe should have tried to get somebody that could subsidize Cade's output, and they didn't, and they just thought Cade would be healthy the whole season, and now he's going to miss an extended period of time. And I'm not saying they're going to be bad or they're going to be lost without Cade, but there have been some things from their coach, JB Bickerstaff, that Pistons fans haven't been happy with all year. That people have noticed that his rotations kind of suck. Without the main star, can JB Bickerstaff cook up a good 8 games, a good 2 weeks of basketball, and keep this team afloat? They do still have their all star. I believe he's healthy now, right? Jalen Duren. Let's see injuries. Jalen Duren's playing, right? Yes, Jalen Duren's playing. So they're still with him, and you might be able to get out of this by the skin of your teeth. You might be able to, but I also would not be surprised if Boston caught up and took the number one seed back. And this maybe opens the door, and I hate to say this maybe opens the door for Boston to at least make it back to the conference finals. Yeah, yeah. You did all that fighting all year for positioning, and you thought the East was wide open. Jason Tatum ended up coming back. You get injured at the wrong time, and you might have the window, at least for this year, might have just shut completely. We'll see how it goes. Individually for Cade, again, a dark horse MVP candidate um, this year. Um, I said if Shea or Nikola Jokic dropped out of the MVP race, like it was just ineligible for the award. Cade could sneak in there. That is no longer the case. Cade is going to miss. He's going to be on that tippy toe threshold too, and the MVP has sort of been recency bias the last couple years, and you need to really put in a good effort these last couple games of the regular season so you can show the voters, hey, this is what I do at the end. I can do this the whole season through, and that's unfair to Cade because he's put in a really good season. But another player who's going on the uptick, who's really catching fire, who I watched play the Houston Rockets last night, and he looked like the old version of himself. He looked like he was in prime, peak condition physically, mentally. Um, Newly divorcee Luka Doncic is on a mission. He's snuck in. I'm looking at Basketball Reference top candidates for MVP, and it's still Shea, it's still Nikola Jokic, but Luka Doncic is here, man. If he keeps this up and the Lakers keep going, tick 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 up the board, up the standings. Right now they are sitting at the 3 seed. They're not going to catch San Antonio, but if they can stay right there and just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and Luka looks good and the team playing well, I'm not saying he's going to win the thing, even though he is my second favorite player. I would love him just to be in the conversation for real because he's always in the conversation at the beginning of the season. And he inevitably gets hurt, or like people start calling him fat, and people like he's the worst defender in the NBA. And then you watch him last night you watch him the last 2 games against the Rockets on Monday and last night Wednesday, and you go, wow, this guy's incredible. This guy's incredible. How hasn't he won an MVP yet? Um, and I'm almost assuredly that's how Pistons fans feel about Cade, where it's like this guy's ready for his first MVP. He's playing basketball the right way. He's ascended into this different tier of player, and now he's been injured, and now somebody else is gonna just come take his place in the standings and in the running for MVP. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way basketball goes. And it's a "What have you done for me recently" award, which is completely fair because it's a year by year award, and um, you need to take in the whole body of work. But what's most important to voters is the end of year stuff. Is after All Star break, running up the runway to the playoffs. It's been really consequential to MVPs recently. So we will see. We will see. Next topic here. After all this injury stuff, that took a little bit longer than I thought it would. 20 minutes talking about injuries. Um, Next thing I want to talk about some fun things. A fun thing that I've been speculating on and I've been thinking about and I've gone back and forth on. And you might have seen my video that the NBA wants to expand into Europe and have a European NBA league, the NBAE or something. National Basketball Association Europe or some shit. Um, that has been back and forth. Is Vegas and Seattle going to get a team? Are they going to do NBA Europe? Are they done with the Seattle not going to get a team? Is the door fully shut? Vegas is definitely going to get a team. Well, we're here, and it's about 90% confirmed that the NBA is set for first vote in Las Vegas Seattle expansion. So all the governors and all the people at the top of the teams will hopefully in person, I believe, take a vote. And this article says the NBA will hold a vote at the Board of Governors meeting next week. That's this week. That's next week from today, the 19th. Um, Adding expansion teams exclusively in Las Vegas and Seattle, sources told ESPN, with the two new franchises being targeted to start play in 2028 and 2029. There is momentum within the Board of Governors and the league office to approve the moving forward with taking bids for the franchise in Las Vegas and Seattle, according to sources with knowledge on the discussion. And it continues. Industry executives project that proposal proposal in the 7 to 10 billion dollar range for each team, and estimated that both markets would be amongst the NBA's top 8 revenue generators. The market appeal of Las Vegas and Seattle, plus the parity-friendly collective bargaining agreement, will likely lead to a robust purchase market for expansion. I will leave this article down below if you want to read all of it. It just goes into the little bits and bobs here. Um, it also talks about that Matt Ishbia in 2022 purchased the Suns for $4 billion. The Boston Celtics were sold to Bill Chisholm for $6 billion. The Los Angeles Lakers, most notably, went from the Buss family to Mark Walter, who also owns the um, Dodgers, for $10 billion, and um, the Portland Trailblazers sold for 4.2 billion. So business is booming in the NBA. As much as us fans have complaints about um, the game and the way it's officiated or the way some players play, the business is up and it's booming. And I specifically don't have any thoughts about Seattle too much because Seattle is, to me, exclusively almost like a WNBA city. Like the Seattle Storm have been the most successful team over there. Um, the NHL recently had an expansion team over there. The Krakens, I think that's right, right? Yeah, I might be wrong on that, but I think that's correct. I believe they have a women's soccer team, maybe. But to me, for the last 20 years almost, it's been a WNBA city. So for them to get an NBA team would be really good. They renovated the climate change center, arena, whatever. It's really nice now. Um, the capacity is there for a WNBA team and an NBA team to coexist. Um, I don't think the uh, the schedules would overlap too much, and you'd be able to make some big money having both teams. Now, for Vegas. Vegas has become a sports city, and it's been trying desperately to become a sports city for the past, oh boy. I remember when the only team there was was the Las Vegas Aces. And they have been hugely successful. The Las Vegas Golden Knights in the NHL have also been moderately successful. Two very successful. They're getting the athletics at some point. There's still some questions on how they're going to build that arena or build that stadium or whatever you call it in baseball, that field. They have the Raiders um, football team in the NFL, and F1 goes there for a race once a year. And there's just a lot of stuff going on in Las Vegas, and it's a very popular city. Um, the economy questionably isn't doing too well right now as of this moment because of some other reasons going on economically and politically, which we won't get into. But overall, I think Vegas transforming from, hey, this is where you come to gamble, and this is where bachelorette and bachelor parties go, and you sit poolside and drink mojitos and margaritas and get the big drink with the slushy thing, and you go see Elvis, and now they have the dome, the sphere, and you go watch UFC. It's gone from that to almost like a full sports city at like a normal city, quote unquote, as somebody put it in a video that I was watching. They want to become more like a Houston, a Dallas, a Miami, where it's like it still is like a party city, but you can go watch whatever sport you want, you know. And I think that's very cool. Um, the biggest thing for me, and this ties in with Seattle as well, is that Las Vegas has a WNBA team. That WNBA team has Mark Davis, who is a billionaire, who also owns the Raiders. Who they have a whole spanking state of the art stadium. If or when I shouldn't say if anymore. When Las Vegas gets a team, one, my first question is, what's the name? Please don't make it like a corny name like the Cobras or the King. You can't be the Kings. You can't be the Aces either. All the good card names are taken. Can't be the Golden Knights. The Las Vegas Gamblers. that, that would be hilarious, especially considering the NBA's ties to gambling these days. That would be hilarious. The Las Vegas Degenerates. How about we call it that? What's the name? But two, more importantly, um, will they build a new arena? Because right now, I believe the Las Vegas Aces play um, at the T-Mobile Arena, and they play at MG. They used to play at MGM, um, like the one of the other spare arenas they have. I do not think Mark Davis owns TNT Arena, and the biggest thing for the NBA is ownership over your arena, because then you can schedule whatever the hell you want. Um, if a men's team is coming to Las Vegas, will there be an arena built? And where? Like actually, where in Las Vegas? Because the 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 uh, the uh, the area is getting kind of filled. It's getting kind of packed, and it's going to be interesting to see if they do that. Um, the other thing being is um, the NBA has wanted a team in Las Vegas specifically for summer league reasons, for All Star game reasons. Um, there's a bunch of other incentives for the NBA to expand to Las Vegas, and it's very they want that arena to be busy. They want it to be busy. They don't need it to be busy. They want it to be busy with NBA stuff, and with the NBA becoming like a global. The NBA has been global, but like a global phenomenon. Everybody can fly into Las Vegas for one weekend. It'd be one of the easiest um, things to do. Now, how does that reflect on the economy of Las Vegas and all this other stuff? Probably not great, because the job market in Las Vegas isn't great. The pay isn't great. People can't survive out there. So uh, these are economic things that some other people might not talk about that I sort of have some insight into that I am slowly kind of worried about. But maybe by the turn of the end of the decade, things will be better. We will see this team, and it might be flat for a couple years, and then after we move into this next decade, and hopefully there'll be some better leadership um, at every level, and we can recover economically. And Las Vegas, a, a city known for entertainment, when people can't afford the entertainment, the economy goes down. When they can't afford the entertainment, it goes up. And you could also say, the NBA is pricing out those fans anyway, so who cares? They're gonna be pricing these courtside seats exponentially crazier. The the uh, the deck seats are gonna be crazy. Like this isn't for like the regular everyday Joe to freaking go to an NBA game or go to any event in Las Vegas. It's for that maybe not the 1%, but the 10% of really rich people, the 20% of really rich people that can afford um, expensive seats to go watch what probably will be a pretty bad team the first couple of years. um, the other thing that came up with this expansion news is that something that I've been theorizing, that I've sat here at this very desk and said over and over and over again, that certain teams would have to move conference, and is basically been confirmed that that will happen. Which teams will it be? Um, the idea has been floated around of Memphis, Tennessee, the Memphis Grizzlies, um, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I haven't seen, at least recently, in these recent conversations that have come up, the New Orleans Pelicans, but I've always thought it would be the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, or the Pelicans and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies make sense as being two really, at least recently, competitive teams. Memphis not so much now, but that's kind of their own fault. The Timberwolves being very good though. Um, Going to the East and spicing up the East, and that's why you have the Eastern Western Conference stuff in front of you. Yeah. Um, how do I feel about? I think that's great. I think the East does need more star power. If it would happen, I guess Anthony Edwards would maybe be the first player to be an all-star for both East and West while staying on the same team. That would be interesting. Um, that might be an historic thing. I don't know. Um, but to wrap this all up, all this expansion stuff is really good. I'm happy that they're probably still monitoring the Europe situation, the NBA like expanding over there, but I think giving these two cities a team is great. There's been some cry that they should be other cities involved, like another Florida team like Tampa, um, like Nashville, a team in Pittsburgh, maybe another team. I've seen some really dumb comments that there should be another team in New York. There should be another team in the Chicago area. There should be another California team. And to all those people who think that, not the necessarily the Tampa or the Nashville, but the New York, the Chicago, the LA. I want you to tell me how many good teams are in that area. The Knicks are the only good team in New York, basketball wise. Obviously, the Nets suck. The Chicago Bulls are mediocre. Um, the California teams, the Warriors are gonna suck by the end of the decade. The Kings are perpetually sucking. The Clippers are just in mediocrity. They're like in purgatory, and the Lakers are the Lakers. And those states don't need more teams. We need more teams in different states. I think that's the biggest thing. And this is a really it's going to be an historic summer, I think, because when this gets approved, they're going to start moving. There'll be names popping up. There's going to be a bunch of things, and it's going to be a fun back half of the decade for basketball in general, in the NBA, in the WNBA, and all that stuff. So, if you guys want to continue to hear my opinions, um, stay tuned on this channel. On the left side of your screen, there is a video. The outro should be playing right now. Check that video out. On the right side, check out my road to the 2026 NBA draft, where I talk about NBA draft prospects. And if you see my icon in the middle, you can click on it. A subscribe button will pop up. Easy access. Just hit the button. It takes literally 1 second to hover over it right now. Just hover over it and hit subscribe. You can like the video as well, and you can comment your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers.